It's Corso and Catone. Brought to you by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Now for the real deal New England feel. Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe's with us in the booth, and you are joining us watching on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, 790 The Score. Anyway, you podcast, you're going to be able to get us. And give us a call and heated hotline. Joe's got it up there running at the banner at the bottom of the screen. 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S, 24/7. Leave us a message. Anything's on the table. Or, of course, you can email us in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. Hey, got an exciting one tonight. In Weekly Rewind, Celtics are in the finals. We're going to talk about that. Of course, Catone's comments. Stick around for that. And we're going to hear from one of you in the nation in Heated Hotline. I'm going to go Yankees versus Red Sox as the Major League Baseball plugs away the season. Gentlemen.
Hey.
Another week.
Another good week.
Hey,
huh?
another week.
Hey,
good week. Say Celtics won. It's a good
That's
week,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Don't you think, Joe, didn't you think he'd be a little more excited than that? Hey,
I thought both of you would be. It's like, hey,
Yes,
listen, we can't have losing teams all the time, you know?
hey, listen, you got to, act like you did it before.
That's right. That's right. Don't go buy Eastern Conference champion shirts and hats and all that stuff.
Hey, how mad did you got to tell? You're going to have to explain yourself now, that I bought the thing last year. Mark got mad at me because I bought
the year that we played Golden State in the
2
final.
years ago. Yeah.
A couple of years ago, we get a delivery to the house. It's a hat for my son, for Chris, Eastern Conference champions. And my son said, "What's this?" And I said, "Well, it's from Uncle Chris." And he said, "Why would he send this?" I said, "Well, because they won." And he's like, "We just lost the finals now." He said, "You don't do that. What's wrong with him?" And of course, we lost the finals. And that's all because he's crazier than we are.
You may have thought I picked up a pile of crap from the side of the road, put it in a box, and sent it there.
Yeah.
I won't do that again. I for sure won't do that again. I didn't think they could really beat Golden State. That was why.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
All right.
but I do think they have a good shot this year. And we need to talk about it. We need to go back and talk about the Eastern Conference trip to get to the finals. We're going to do it in a weekly rewind. We're going to do it now. Going back through the week, about a weekly rewind. So, Mark, here they are in the NBA Finals. Going to start June 6th is tip-off. We're still waiting to see who they're going to play. I mean, all chances are it's going to be Dallas.
We're assuming it's Dallas. Nobody in the history of the league has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. So we're assuming it's Dallas, even though they're playing game 6. Game 5 tonight. Game 5.
Story about the NFC Championship and the hats. I'm like, no, maybe I shouldn't have titled it that way.
Yeah, bring on Dallas. Well, you know what it is. The odds are fair. But, Mark, you have a theory on this. The way it's shaping out with this Minnesota game, the home court, we'll see. We'll talk about that after the break. But I want to talk a little bit about the road. The road to get to where where we are now, where they are now. And I guess, I think you can say they buzzed through the Eastern Conference with confidence. You could say that because they did. They lost 2 games. So far they've won 12? They won 12 games, right? And they played 14. They only lost twice in 3 rounds. I would say that's pretty dominant, Mark.
Oh, yeah. Very dominant, Chris. Very dominant.
So break it down. What did you see with this Eastern Conference run? What are the things that stick out to you?
Well, number one, Chris, it does not appear that they're going to change what brought them to the dance. They're going to continue to take 3-pointers at a high rate. They're going to continue to play the same style of offense. They're going to continue to play the same rotations, even though we don't believe, you and I, after watching these series, like Hauser keeps getting put on the court, and I don't know why, but they're going to continue to do that. Defensively, Chris, I think in this last series, you saw the intensity go up a little bit, though.
Yeah.
Because Indiana, granted, They had some injuries. I mean, Halliburton got hurt after game 2. However, Indiana, Chris, has been one of the top scoring teams, if not the top
They were the
offensive
top
team,
scoring team.
right, in the league. So defensively, Chris, I don't think enough credit was given to the Celtics in this series for raising their defensive intensity. You know, in some of those games that we closed out in the last 3 or 4 minutes, Chris, it was defense. It was Derek White with steals, Drew Holiday with steals, Jaylen Brown with steals. The defense stepped up when they had to close out those games. And that, Chris, I think is something that's going to be important as we go to the finals, because you and I are definitely not impressed with Dallas's defense. But offensively, we did what we've done all year long. We didn't deviate from it, Chris. There was a couple of games where we drove to the basket more than we have. You and I liked that when they did it. But they're still shooting. There's games they're shooting 46, 47 3-pointers. I think they're going to continue to do that. But the defensive intensity, Chris, is where you're going to make your bones. And that's where you're going to win the championship if they can continue to do that when they need it down the stretch of games.
Yeah, I mean, and particularly in that Pacers series. You know, you saw the team
absolutely.
minus game 1. I mean, we came out, we were critical of them for the lack of defensive intensity. I said that after game 1, and that was true. I mean, they were lucky. You know, things could have gone very different in this series had they lost that game in overtime, if not for that Jaylen Brown basket and so on. And then the intensity went up, as you say. And the other thing, too, that I see is, you know, a lot of criticism all season long of this team was, they're down at the bottom of the league when it's a tight game, under 5 minutes, under 2 minutes. They're at the very bottom of the league in being able to pull those games out. Well, now we'll get to the opponents in a second, okay? The quality of opponent. But you saw a different Celtics team down the stretch. Under 5 minutes left. Look, games 3 and 4, Mark, they really didn't have any business. Well, maybe it was games 2 and 4. Twice in that series, you had them pretty much, Pacers win that game. All of a sudden, you can either look at it as the Pacers wet themselves or the Celtics closed. And when you close with defense the way they did, as you say, Drew Holiday with the steal. I mean, you say, well, they dribbled the ball off their leg, Halliburton or one of these guys. The defense Drew Holiday was playing on these guys and Derek White at the end of the game, that forced it. And Chris, I agree with you.
Isn't that why we brought Holiday here?
Well, and that brings me to this point. What is the biggest reason? Okay, because last year you have the team. Okay, you have this team. You got Marcus Smart on this team. Some other players, you know, Williams at center was injury prone. All these things. What's the biggest move that they made in the offseason?
Well, you would say, well, maybe Porzingis, but Porzingis hasn't played in the playoffs, Chris, really. Right. And they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm sorry, they're going to the championship round. I would have to say, Chris, it was Holiday. Drew Holiday brought in the playoffs a different level of defensive intensity, Chris. In the last couple of games of the series, in the last 5 minutes of each of those games, they've gone to Holiday, Chris. He's gotten layups. He's gotten backdoor cuts. He set screens. Holiday, in the last 2 games of that Indiana series, he scored, Chris, and he helped close out those games. And I don't know if he got the credit he deserved, but he should have, Chris. He was the one acquisition, and we both said, yeah, Porzingis, but you can't count on them being healthy, and we were right. But Holiday was the guy, Chris, we said at the beginning of the year, will hopefully be the difference maker in the playoffs. And he kind of was a little bit in this Indiana series, Chris. He was.
I would say more than a little bit. Look,
yeah,
you and I on Super Bowl Sunday, they played the Heat. Okay.
Yep.
And we said it that day we were together. And I turned to you and I said, these two are the reason. If they're going to do anything this season, it's going to be because of these two, because they took over that game. Last year, they lose that game.
Yeah.
Against the Heat. But because of Drew Holiday and Porzingis, here we are. And so I mean, he needs to get, and the other thing too is the calm that he brings. The calm that he brings to the offense, the calm that he brings to the sets, the spacing, everything he sets up. And finally, I'm starting to see them allow him to touch the ball, to hold the ball in critical moments. And you and I said as the season wore down, they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to let Drew Holiday, Derek White, but more Drew Holiday, handle that ball. Get them into the things they need to get into.
And that's why you brought him here, to do that in the playoffs. Because, Chris, listen, I get the stats. I get what Tatum averaged through the series. Rebounds, scoring. I get it.
I think he averaged, 30 points in the series?
It. But in the last 3 minutes of every one of those games,
did
he have any say in the outcome?
No.
Okay, game 1, they got it to overtime. He scored in overtime. I get it. But
he's got 10 points, but one of those, Mark, those 3 of those points, his defender slipped and fell down, and he ended up on McConnell under the basket, who just hugged him. So,
but in these last 2 or 3 games, Chris, when it came to closeout time, it wasn't Tatum who was doing it, Chris.
No.
To your point, it was Holiday, it was Brown, it was White, it was granted, Tatum made the pass the other to Horford or into White a couple of times in those games down the stretch. He made good passes, but as far as taking control and saying I'm winning this game, we didn't see that.
No, we haven't seen it, and we talked about this last week. I don't think we're going to see it. It's too late for that at this point. It's going to have to be collective, or it's not going to be at all. Okay. Because he's not going to take over the game. I think Jaylen Brown has taken that role. But, Mark, the one thing I will say about the Drew Holiday, the one last thing I'm going to say about this, for all the people, and you and I, and you can go back and you can listen to our shows. I encourage you to do that anyway. But you can go back and you can listen to what we had to say about Marcus Smart. And you and I were calling for them to get rid of him for probably 2 years. Yeah, enough with him. He's not a true point guard. He's a good defender, but, he thinks himself better than he is. Well, for all the defenders of Marcus Smart out there, now you see what a point guard can do. Now you see what the purpose of a guy like Drew Holiday. There's your difference, everybody. Yeah. There's the difference. Yep. And now you know. And you don't hear about anybody. You don't hear about Marcus Smart anymore. But
no,
but that's the difference. And so talking about closing these games. So okay, you say you mentioned White. I mean, White's had a tough shooting playoff so far. He hit that 3-pointer at the end in game 4. I get that. But he's contributing in other ways.
He's contributing on the defensive end when they need it.
He's the only one going for the ball.
Yeah.
He's the only one on the team who actually goes for a rebound.
Who?
Yeah.
Brown?
No.
Well, Drew Holiday gets a lot of that too.
Derek White actually goes to the basket when somebody shoots the ball where nobody else follows their shot or anything like that.
Yeah. I will say Tatum has shown laziness on the defensive side, defensive end. His rotation over, his things, his boxing out, allowing too many offensive rebounds. They'll have to clean that up. And we'll talk, after break, we'll come back and talk about what they need to do in the Dallas series. I think it'll be Dallas. But the closer has been Jaylen Brown. I fully agree. I didn't think they'd do it, but I fully agree with him getting Larry Bird Trophy, the conference finals MVP.
How do you think that played with Tatum?
I think he's fine with it.
Yeah.
I think he's fine. I mean, I think it'll play worse if he doesn't get the champion,
finals
MVP. I think that'll be a little more, but I think at this point they're dialed in.
And they are dialed in. And what's interesting is the game was a game 2. Jaylen Brown went off. He scored like 40 points almost, right? I think it was 2, right? It was right after they announced the All-NBA first, second, and third team, and he didn't get chosen for any of them. And they asked him, they said, was this performance tonight about being angry that you weren't chosen for one of those? And he said, I don't give a SHIT about that. He said, we're 2 games away from the NBA Finals. What do I care about that? His answer was good. Where I think the old Jaylen Brown would say, well, I should have been like, he didn't go into it. He said, I don't give a shit about that. It's about we're 2 games away from the finals.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complete travesty that he that he was nowhere to be found on those first three
No,
teams.
it was.
I mean, it's ridiculous, So what did he do? Yeah, he got pissed off about it. And he proceeded to go and score 30 some odd points a game, 40 in one game, and and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the bigger picture. So yeah, I think Jaylen Brown, I think he's the guy that's shown the leadership, and I think that and he's going to have to be the one that shows it in the finals as well, Mark. So they're listen, they're 4 wins away now. They're 4 wins away for an NBA championship. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the possible matchup with Dallas because that's who we think it'll be. So this portion of Corso and Catone was presented by Corso and Catone. Saturdays, 12 to noon p.m. Eastern. Hey, sponsorships are available. Make sure you email us, corso.catone@gmail.com. Stick around.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray.
What?
That's
crap
it.
What is wrong with
Get him on this damn
you?
show.
Lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England Field. It's going to be real.
Back in with more Corso and Catone. Okay, Mark. So, look, no team has ever come back down 0-3.
Nope.
Minnesota won that game. Real quick, do you give him an outside chance to do what nobody's ever done?
Listen to me. I don't know why, because listen to me. I don't think Minnesota is that good. I said it to Chris when Chris said they scare me. He said it in the beginning of the Denver series. And I just think Denver in Game 7 had wide open shots. I don't think everyone gave Minnesota credit. Oh, they played defense. They didn't play defense in that game. They missed wide open shots. They do that against the Celtics. I said to Chris, they'll lose by 30. But
he'll do anything to not be wrong. He'll say anything to defend this Denver team.
Listen,
like, what are you on stock in the Nuggets?
No,
you just want to be right.
This isn't about Denver. Let me finish my thought here. Listen. So I'm going to say this, Chris. Something about their body language in Game 4, Minnesota's body language, it was almost like, yeah, we know they won 3 games, but if we get we're better than this team. They didn't say it. It was something. It was just in the way the body language, the way they carried themselves after the game. It was like, yeah, we're going home. And listen, if they win tonight, we're taping on Thursday. It's Game 5 tonight. If Minnesota wins tonight, Chris, Game 6 in Dallas is really Game 7 for Dallas. Because if they lose, they're going to get smoked at Minnesota. I'm telling you right now. So as crazy as it sounds, I don't think it's over yet. If Dallas wins this, they better win it in 5. I don't think you want to go a Game 6
or 6.
Game 7.
6 at home,
6 at home. But anyway, I don't think. Listen, I think Minnesota has a glimmer, a teeny bit of a glimmer. But listen, let's go with history and say it's Dallas. Okay?
All I could tell you is this.
And let's go with history, and we'll say it's Dallas.
Celtics fans, okay, you better hope to God that Minnesota doesn't come back in this series. Because if you have to face a team that was down 0-3 and won 4 in a row, rolling into the finals, look out.
With 2 guys that can play under the basket that are bodies, and you're not going to have a healthy Porzingis even if he plays. And I know that's always been that's your worry, Chris. But let's assume it's Dallas. They're up 3-1. Let's not entertain that. So it's Dallas.
So looking at this series, if it is Dallas, okay. I mean, break this thing down, Mark, because I've contended all along, I think Dallas stinks on defense.
Okay.
Flat out. And I think their 2 best players stink on defense. And I don't even think they try. You see Luka trying hard on defense?
Well, I am going to say this, Chris, though. If they're that bad on defense, how are they beating Minnesota?
Well, because I think Edwards has gone to sleep in this series.
Okay.
I think after the Denver series, he had a good game last game where you started to see him again going to the rim. You started to see Edwards give up on plays, drive to the rim, pass off, dish off, where the other night he wasn't doing that in game 4. So I think that's a huge part of this. as to why
So,
you're
Chris,
seeing what you're seeing. I still don't. I don't think Dallas.
Dallas
is a good
doesn't
defense.
play defense. Okay, so
They brought in those two guys. They brought in the two pickups at the trade deadline that helped them. PJ and who the other guy that was interviewed the other night.
Yeah, Chris. Let me ask you this though: the two games the Celtics played against them in the regular season, what was the point total for the Celtics?
I think in one of the games it was 119, and then the other one was like 138.
Okay, so to support your point, Dallas is going to struggle on the defensive end against the Celtics. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if it's Dallas, you got Kyrie and you got Doncic. Who's guarding those guys?
Okay, so I don't think Dallas. Okay, and by the way, just so these two guys are being considered the two best closers, two of the best closers in basketball, and I can't disagree with that from what we've seen. Okay, right now they're both averaging. Luka's averaging 28 points a game, Kyrie 22. They're 43%. Kyrie's 50%. The 3-point, the totals for 3-point percentage aren't that great. So they're scoring, okay? But I don't think they've seen a defense like the Celtics. I just don't think they've seen guards that can look. Derek White and Drew Holiday to me are the two best guard defensive duo in the league. Period, hands down. I'll take that fight with anybody. And I don't think these two guys have seen that. They certainly haven't seen it in this playoffs.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Right.
I don't think they saw it from the Clippers. Who'd they play in the second round? Bottom line is OKC. I just don't think they've seen what's coming at them from a defensive standpoint. And the fact that they don't have their bigs, that for us to really be worried too much about. With Porzingis and that kind of thing, that means the rotation defense. Even if you get a switch, Jaylen Brown's still good enough. I think Brown's good enough if he ends up on Luka to defend him well. They haven't seen that buzzing around, Mark. And those are the two guys to worry about. Even Peyton Pritchard on defense can bring it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Chris. Somehow they're one win away from the finals. So they're going to be better than what we think, because you and I both said at the beginning of the playoffs that we thought the Western Conference was better than the East, other than the Celtics.
Yeah, but Dallas was never in our discussion with that.
They weren't. So my point is, how the heck did they get here, and how are they getting there? If they don't play defense, they stink. They got no inside game. They don't rotate. How the hell are they going to go to? How are they going to the finals?
I mean, I'm just telling you what I've seen looking at them throughout the playoffs. I mean, you tell me what the inside presence is for them. I mean, they get a lot of lobs, and that's the one thing you're going to get with that team because you're so concerned about blitzing those two players. Yeah. You got to blitz Kyrie, you got to blitz Luka because you're so worried about their outside shooting that it allows for the lobs, the alley-oop, the dunks. It allows for that. So if that bothers you underneath, I get that part. But other than that, Mark, what have you seen out of any of their bigs that bother you?
Listen, I think if the Celtics played Dallas, Chris, probably 5 games. They probably win 1 game.
Yeah.
Dallas. They'll win a game, probably. Kyrie and Doncic, 1 game.
Well, they'll shoot out of their skin.
They'll shoot out of their skin in 1 game, those 2 guys, and they'll take them to a win. But I will say this. I did give Boston credit for closing against Indianapolis.
Yeah.
However, there's a big difference. If you're going to go, you can't go into the last 3-4 minutes of a game against Dallas and you're down 3 or 4 like they were against Indiana and pulled the game out, because Irving and Doncic, no matter what you think about them, if they're up with 4 minutes to go, they're closing the game out. They'll get calls. They'll get fouls called. They'll get whatever they need to get. So you're going to have to put this team away.
Yeah.
And I think we will, Chris. I do think we will. But you can't let them hang in games, because they will bite you at the end. This isn't Indiana.
Yeah.
This is a different beast if you let them hang there. But I think the Celtics should dominate this team, Chris, and that they should win by double digits every game. And like you said, they'll get shooting in one game, Dallas, and they'll win one game. If it's Dallas, I think we win in 5.
Yeah, listen, you can't have the lapses like the Celtics had in,
No.
quarters worth of defensive lapses, no intensity, no fighting over the screen, not staying connected to guys. You can't do that for quarters at a time because it is right. It's not Cleveland. It's not Miami, and it's not Indiana. They're a better offensive team, a much, much better offensive team. Than that. So yeah, I mean, but I do like us in that series too. I like it 5. Maybe you can convince me 6, but I certainly don't think it'll go 7.
No. I don't even. Yeah, you can't even convince me it would go 6 unless we really revert back to some of our old habits.
Yeah.
But the way we've been playing, Chris, I don't even see. You can't even convince me 6. I think I'll give them one game and they go in 5. Let's hope it's Dallas because we don't want to be talking about Minnesota next week because I know you don't like even though Minnesota has looked bad in this series, I know you don't like that matchup.
I don't.
Yes,
and
this. We got a write-in from the mailbag, but between the Mavericks and Timberwolves, if they go the 7, does it matter to you or this Celtics team if they hang around waiting to play? Like most
will it be rusty? Is that what the question is?
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, I worry about that.
Yeah,
I worry about
do.
the rust a little bit for game 1, especially against Minnesota.
If that Dallas series ends up going 6 or 7 games, Chris, no matter who wins it, I definitely think game 1, you may be at a disadvantage because whoever you're playing is going to be ready to play because they've been playing and you've been sitting and you're definitely going to be rusty, Chris.
Yeah.
And so that could be a factor in game 1 if somebody comes out, if they come out hot against you. Because it may take you a little while to get going.
Yeah. And Dallas has been good on the road. So, home court really doesn't mean much.
That's a good question, Joe.
So the other thing, Mark, two last points before we get to your segment. The love affair that Boston has with Kyrie.
Okay. The love affair. Yeah. That's a nice way of putting it, Chris.
So 2 things. I want you to talk about that. The last time he came in to Boston, tortured. He got tortured. And he'll get tortured in the finals. If you don't think that the Boston fans are going to come out and torture the crap out of Kyrie, then you don't know Boston very well. And that's fine. Obviously keep it within the, you keep it reasonable. But the point is, the last time that happened, I watched Jason Tatum, doing this to the crowd, quieting the crowd down so they wouldn't torture him as much because they're kind of friendly. And nobody's friendlier with Kyrie more so than Jaylen Brown. I mean, Jaylen Brown was wearing Kyrie sneakers in the All-Star game or something like that. So they're pretty close. I mean, there's some things that are talking about that politically, whatever, with Jaylen Brown. Why is that? All this nonsense. Forget that for a minute. But what happens then? You can't tell your crowd to shut up in the finals?
No, listen. Listen, you're 4 games away from a ring, right? Listen, I get you got a friendship with Kyrie, and you're gonna tell you'll have to tell Kyrie. I mean, you're gonna have to put that friendship aside and say, listen, it is what it is. You're on the road. You walked away from this team. How did you think the fans are gonna react to you when you said, I want to stay here, and then you walk away? How do you think they're going to react? You lied to them. You're going to get that reception every time you come into Boston forever, but you're especially going to get it in the NBA Finals.
Remember what they did to Kobe?
So I think Brown and Tatum are going to have to dial back, the defense of him and just say, hey, our fans are passionate. They love the Celtics, and it is what it is. And you want to apologize to Kyrie after and go do whatever you do with them. You do it after the series. But listen, because at some point, Chris, if you do that, and God forbid Dallas beats you in 7, they're going to turn on Tatum and Brown.
Absolutely. Rightfully so.
You
Listen, then the other thing, too, I'm less worried about that with Jaylen Brown than I am, because Jaylen Brown's a dog. I mean, he's friends with Mitchell, but didn't matter in that game, that series. Then more so than Tatum.
Yeah.
But Stephen A. Smith, said something this week, which I thought was kind of weak. Okay, but he basically talked about Jaylen Brown that that he's quoted a league source that he's not liked. He's not well liked. He thinks he's better than other players. You know, and
Within
he's
the
not.
Celtics?
No, he said that Jaylen Brown is not liked in the league, within the whole league.
Okay.
Okay, because he thinks he's better than other players. He's not. Then it makes him not marketable and all that crap. And talking about an unnamed source, which by the way I thought was pretty friggin' weak. I mean, I like Stephen A. Smith, but come on, at least say if it's a player or an executive. You know, by the way, you know who this is who said that to him, right? I mean, I don't know this, but I know that this was Draymond Green.
Here we go.
This is Draymond Green. And you know what? Jaylen Brown knows it too. You know why he knows it? Because during 2 years ago, during that finals,
Yep.
what was the comment? Jaylen Brown, Draymond Green made a comment to Jaylen Brown because in Jaylen Brown's press conference the other day, when being asked about this, he kind of threw that in at the end.
Okay.
Draymond Green and Jaylen Brown don't like each other.
No. Nobody likes other than Curry and Thompson. Nobody likes Draymond Green.
So don't you want Jaylen Brown to not be? I don't want him to be liked.
No, I don't either.
Who the hell wants him to be liked?
But you can't show it on the court, Chris, to your own fans, like telling them to be quiet and laying off.
No.
You can't physically show that outwardly on the court when you're competing against somebody for an NBA championship. It can't happen. It can't.
No. Let them go. Bring them on, Joe. Bring on Dallas, just like he says in the title. Bring on Dallas. So stay tuned because we're going to be talking, obviously, a ton about this. But Weekly Rewind was presented by Corso Law Group, CorsoLawGroup.com. Hey, stick around. And you know what, Mark? Before we go to break, I do have to mention really quick. You know, we want to acknowledge the passing of Bill Walton, Celtic great, basketball great, passes at the age of 71. He lost his battle with cancer. Quite the character. Mark.
He was
quite the character.
He was fun. Listen, if you put on a West Coast college basketball game, I love the Pac-12. I'd love it. No more Pac-12, of course. You put a game on at 11:30 Eastern time. You can't sleep. You're watching the game. He's got on a tie-dye shirt. He's talking about
taking his shirt off.
Right, taking his shirt off. He's talking about the Grateful Dead. But his knowledge of basketball, Chris, was off the charts. Like he would be talking about things during the game, and you're saying to yourself, "Oh my God!" Like you know what I mean? And his knowledge and recollection of John Wooden and all of John Wooden's greatness and how he talked about the game and understood the game, and that's you lost an icon in that sense too, Chris. And it's the end of an era. There ain't many of those guys left that are still living.
And he bled green.
He only was with us for 2 years, Chris. But did he bleed green? He became real close to Larry Bird. They developed a real good relationship. But it's like an end of an era, Chris. It really is.
National champion, 2-time NBA champion,
MVP,
NBA MVP, NBA Finals MVP, sixth man. He's going to be missed. His character will be missed. Bill Walton passes at the age of 71. Stick around. Catone's comments is next.
No one ever thinks they'll be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Whether it's a traffic ticket or more serious issue, go to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Time for Catone's comments!
So this week, Memorial Day just passed, right? So Monday was Memorial Day. And for those people who are no longer with us, I pass along my respect and sympathy for those who are no longer with us. However, after Memorial Day, it's almost like it's like the unofficial start of summer, right? It's Memorial Day goes by, and now it's like the unofficial start of summer. You know, at least in Rhode Island, a lot of the beaches start to open, and they're putting the stuff on the beaches, and they're hiring lifeguards, and they're getting ready for the summer, right? And what comes with summer? Vacations. People are starting to think about vacations, 4th of July. You know, where are you going on vacation? Did you book a vacation? And all these glorious things that go with summer until it actually happens. Listen, you do realize with vacation comes our favorite topic of planes, which I'm not even going to get into the craziness of the airports and the planes and of the people who are on the planes and the conduct of the people who are on the planes, who cough on you, breathe on you. They what they do on those planes is it's not even human. And they're on these planes. I don't understand it. They're taking their dirty feet out and sticking them next year. I can't even get into what you're gonna face this summer if you get on a plane. That's a 2-show episode. Never mind Catone's comment. That's a whole episode about planes. Now, then you get on vacation and you go someplace and you're with your family, you're with your friends, whoever you're traveling with, you just want to relax. I get to these places, I go to a beach resort, I just want to relax, have a cold drink, put my sunglasses on, go in the pool. I don't want to be bothered. But there's always that person who gets into the pool. They want to strike up a conversation with you. Oh, where are you from? Listen, I don't want to talk to you. I don't know you. I don't want to talk to you. Don't look at me. I got my sunglasses on. I'm pretending like I don't see you for a reason. Please don't talk to me. Please. I don't want to talk to you. I don't know who you are. I just want to be with my family, relax. It's vacation. It's called rest. I want to rest. Then you're going to go to restaurants. If you go out to dinner on these vacations, you're going to fight with people. You're going to deal with trying to get into these places. You're going to deal with rudeness, ignorance. People don't say thank you when you hold the door. I've talked about this before. Parking spaces, everything that I talk about in Catone's comment, it's like one big ball that comes to fruition on vacation. All the elements of the craziness that I talk about, it all comes together. It's like the black hole on vacation. Everything I talk about, it all happens. It all happens. So how are you even enjoying your vacation? Then you get home, you need another vacation to recover from the craziness you just experienced for 5 or 6 days or 7 days, however long you went on vacation. Now, the one place I will not go, I will not do, and I know Christopher likes to do this, I cannot go on a boat, on a ship, on a cruise. I just can't do it. I just, there's something about ships and cruises. I don't know, maybe it's claustrophobic. I don't know. Me being out in the ocean all by, but no, I can't, that I can't do. So I can't speak to that because I've never been on one. I know Christopher has, but that's the one thing I just can't do. My wife would like to go on one. I say, you're going on me. I'm not going. You will not get me on a ship in the ocean. Will not happen. Don't happen. I'm not really that much into water to be out in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean. No, thank you. No. So for those of you who are getting ready to go on your vacations now, you're getting ready for the summer, just remember, calmness, be calm. Don't let your blood pressure get up. Don't get excited. You're on vacation. The madness and the mayhem that goes along with vacation, just let it roll off your back like me. Just let it roll off your back. Calmness. That's what I preach. Calmness. That's all. Calmness. Go like it's yoga. Breathing. Calmness.
Sounds like
Joe,
the
how much time do I have for rebuttal?
therapist gave him a mantra for the vacation.
Right. How much time do I have for rebuttal here?
Rebuttal, counselor.
Okay. First of all, you're the least calm person I ever met in my life. That's number one. Okay. So I don't know who you are, but make sure Catone shows up next show. Okay. Over here. But well, I don't get in pools, first of all.
Okay, because I was going to say that you don't experience any of what I just described.
No. I don't get in public pools. That's a hard line. I mean, I got a pool. I don't need to get in somebody else's pool. Okay. I'll come home and go in the pool.
What
know?
is it? Was it the
So if you're at a resort,
No, you don't want to know what it is?
you're
It's
at a
somebody's filthy,
no, no.
disgusting Band-Aids. They wear
So-
Band-Aids
so-
in the pool.
So
They-
if you're at a resort, you won't go in a pool.
I'm not going to I got a pool. I'm not going in
Okay.
the pool. I'm not there to
Okay.
go in the pool. You know?
Okay.
Do you know how disgusting you people are out there? Are you kidding me? People have cuts, funguses they haven't, identified yet, and they're wearing bandage. I saw some guy come walking in one time. This dude had like a bandage on his foot. Like, whatever you got that requires that, you shouldn't even be in this place on this earth, let alone in the pool. Yeah, no. I don't get pools. Okay. See, first of all, you're afraid of boats. We know this. See, I know this. You're afraid of boats. Aren't you, Mark? Yeah.
I won't go on a cruise.
Let his silence speak for itself. So
Nope.
I like cruise. I'm going on one.
No, I know you are. That's why I said I know Chris likes them. I can't.
You're one step closer to disappearing forever.
Jesus Christ, Joe.
At any
What's
given
wrong with
point,
him?
you can end up in the Bermuda Triangle. And
I
that's
share-
it, man. You know,
I
and
should
you're,
be with that guy, and I don't know what's wrong with him.
that's it. You're one step closer to just being able to I jump in, swim away. That's it. Then I don't have to deal with people because maybe I'll get stranded on some deserted island. Okay, where as long as I'm able to figure out some kind of electricity, solar, whatever, airdrop things to me, I'm happy. What I like about the cruise, Mark, yeah, you have to see the same ugly bugs all week long walking around the joint, but it's a huge thing. They got all the way to the top.
I knew you were bringing this up. I knew, Joe. I knew he was bringing this up.
You go all the way to the top of the ship, as far as you can go. There's a deck up there that's about this big. And for those of you on the radio, I'm making a square, little small square. There's like one lawn chair, one of those shades lounges, two tops. That's where I go, and nobody goes there. There's nothing to do. There's just the door to get out. The stairs to get down.
Captain's lounge area. You can't go there.
No, the captain won't even go up there. I go up there all day long. People, where is he? Where did he go? Where did he go? That's why I go. You don't have to get off the thing. You don't have to do anything. None of this. Well, let's get dressed and ready, and we're gonna go out to here. We're gonna get in the cab. We're gonna get in the Uber. We're gonna go there. No. Nope.
You're on the top of the ship.
Now, Chris, let me ask you a question.
Hmm.
When the boat docks at one of the islands, wherever the cruise is going, you don't get off the boat?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Depends. I'll never get off in Puerto Rico. It's a dump.
Where are you going this time?
Those places. The
Oh
Caribbean.
yeah, but so you may get off. You may not.
To
get
be
off.
honest with you, I don't really know what the islands are. that
You
we're
don't
going.
even care.
But I listen, no, I'll get off. But if I get off, I have to find a resort place that's not offered on the ship to buy, like a package. Because you could buy
Okay.
tours. I find
Okay.
one through a guy I know that tells me, go to this place, it's secluded. So I try to get to seclusion till nobody around.
Okay.
This is what I do.
But you don't. But you don't understand what I'm saying about vacation. It's more hassle and headaches.
Yeah,
than
I hate
it's worth.
everybody. Yeah. Yes. I listen. I will always choose to stay home. I will always choose to stay home, Mark.
Everything I talk about on Catone's comments, Chris.
Yeah.
It is the culmination of all of
rolled
that.
into one.
Roll into one is vacation.
It is.
It's nuts.
It's horrible.
It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
It's horrible.
nuts.
I mean, I hate traveling from the moment the bag comes out of the friggin' closet to pack. There's no reason for it. I just don't understand. I'm happy where I am. I don't need. I look behind me. I can watch games.
How about you, Joe? You like traveling? Vacation?
Oh yeah. I gotta get it. I'm a mover and a shaker. I gotta go and see people and
The mover and a shaker. He
Mover
says.
and a shaker. You said I think she's still in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh yeah. You gotta keep that mentality, man. You know what? Here it is. More people need to travel more because you learn about cultures and you just become a better person that way. That's true.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be a better person.
And there you have it, ladies and
And
gentlemen.
I know he doesn't want to be a better person.
And on that
sure.
note, Joe, we're
Yeah.
gonna close out this segment.
That's it. We're gonna move and shake our way to heated. We're gonna move and shake our way to heated hotline. So Catone's comments was presented by Corso and Catone, 12 to 1 p.m. Easterns every Saturday. Hey, we come back. We're gonna hear from one of you in heated hotline. No flipping.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray.
What?
That's
crap
it.
is- What is wrong with
Get him on this damn
you?
show.
Lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England Field. It's going to be real.
Boy, Mark, you yell a lot.
Calmness.
yell a lot.
Calmness. Calm.
Not on vacation.
Calm. Calm.
Okay. Well, let's see if we're gonna get yelled at. We're gonna hear from one of you in heated hotline, Joe.
Hi, this is Frank from Smithfield. So what's all this crap from the Patriots about seeing how the quarterbacks do? Like, you drafted May number 3. Commit to him. He's not freaking Mac Jones. Love the show.
Okay. We got a Patriots caller. Mark, they're in OT. They had another OTA, a couple of those this week, right?
Yep,
So
better
talking
love
about, talking about Mac Jones, talking about Drake May getting third unit reps. So it's going Brissett, our friend Zappy, and then May. What do you make of what was the name? Who's calling from Smithfield? What was that? Frank?
Was it Frank? Yeah, Frank.
Frank.
He's new. I haven't heard. I don't think we've
I've
ever
never
heard
heard
from
Frank
in
before.
Smithfield.
Thank you for the call, Frank. But what do you make of what he's saying?
I 100% agree with Frank. Listen, why is Bailey Zappi even on this roster still is beyond me. And by the way, Chris and I, well, at least Chris always says, listen, don't put any stock in shorts and T-shirts. It's meaningless. It's shorts, it's T-shirts, it's meaningless, right? And I agree with Chris. However, the fact that they were in shorts and T-shirts today, Bailey Zappi, Chris, they said looked so bad today in OTAs. Like they did a drill. His accuracy was terrible. He missed guys. He underthrew guys. He looked so damn bad today in OTAs. Why is he on this roster, Chris? What competition? Competition? And this goes to your point, Chris, about Mayo and about this team. And about this team doesn't know what they're doing. Okay? And you're right. The more and more I'm watching this, Chris, I was trying to be a little bit optimistic.
Yeah, last night. I was talking to you last night, and you're all like, well, maybe because it was 2 a.m. I was talking to you at 11 o'clock at night over here. But anyway, go ahead.
But listen, I'm starting to think you're right, Chris, about the fact
that right.
I just think they're and I don't say that too often. I just think that they're clueless, Chris. I think Mayo's clueless. His comment, well, I never could articulate what the Patriot way was.
Oh.
It was just a lot of hard work. Shut your trap, for Christ's sake. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, that pisses. They're still dumping on Bill. Still dumping on Bill.
Still.
In his quest to go on 180, away from Bill. Okay. Listen.
But Chris, back to the caller's point. I went a little bit off tangent there. Drake May. Like, what is the whole issue with Zappy? Why is he
get on track, Mark. Get on track. You're already on vacation, it seems.
Listen, man. Well, what is the point of Zappy? Why is he here, Chris? Can you explain that to me?
The only thing I can think of is that they have no intention of playing May or wanting to play May, and they don't want to get stuck having to play May. And therefore they want somebody that's had a little bit of experience on an NFL field, which tells me basically they're cashing in the season right now, because a lot of teams draft player number 3 and they play him. Now we know Trey Lance didn't do that with San Francisco, but they were transparent. See, this is the problem I have. Look, I don't have a problem with sitting May. From everything I'm hearing about OTAs, he's got loads of physical gifts, but he doesn't understand NFL offense. He hasn't been in it enough, and he just needs time. He needs time. So I have no issue with putting this guy on the bench for the entire season. I'm fine with that. And by the way, Elliot Wolf is from that cloth, Mark, of Green Bay. Of course, it's easy when you have Hall of Famers that are sitting there playing, and you can you can put Love on the bench, you could put Aaron Rodgers on the bench because you had Favre. You know what I mean? But I tell you what, if they played Love, he would have been junk now. So
Chris, why?
okay.
But so if that was their philosophy,
but not Zappy. But not
yes.
Zappy.
My point is, why didn't they? When they signed Brissett, Chris, you could have signed another veteran off the scrap heap.
You can still do it.
Who's backed up guys in this league, bench second and third string quarterbacks in this league. Release Zappy and bring in one of those guys. May will never have to play. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm not okay with Zappy going to a press conference yesterday and saying, well, I've been told it's a competition and I'm working, trying to put my best foot forward. Listen, you're not going to be this. You're not the starter. You're not the future of this organization. He's a cancer in the locker room. Get rid of him. The call is right. I'd rather play May. You drafted him third.
Well, the caller wants to play May, right? Yeah. The caller's basically saying they got PTSD from the Mac Jones thing.
Which they do.
Which, you know what? Get over it.
But Zappy, Chris, Zappy's actually going out publicly and saying, oh, yeah, this is a competition. Shut your mouth. Really?
I can't. Listen, you brought in 3 new quarterbacks on this team, yet you're going to keep this slob around. He stinks. He stunk last year. He still stinks. Okay? So if you want to guarantee you're going to have a top 2 pick again next year, then start Bailey Zappy.
So, Chris, do you agree with the caller? Should May legitimately have a shot? And if he lights up the preseason, do you start him, or you don't agree with that, with the caller? Give him a shot. You drafted him 3.
No, I don't think so. Because I think the offensive line's still a mess, too. They were running into each other at OTAs. So, no, I think he needs more time at 21 years old and soon to be 22. So, no, I'm okay with that, but I just don't want Zappy here. But, Mark, it goes to the other point. We got to get to baseball, but it goes to the other point of everybody on this team in management is new at their job. I heard this on the radio or wherever this week, and it rang true. Everybody, from the owner, Jonathan Kraft is now doing whatever he's doing. That's new. Van Pelt, that's new. Mayo's new. Covington's new. Everybody's new at their job.
Special teams coaches new. Everybody's new at their job. Yeah. You're right, Chris.
They're not like they did it somewhere else.
Robin Glazer, I don't know what she's doing.
I don't know what she does, but they're all new at their job, and they sound like it and they act like it. What they did in the draft, Mark, was they just stand pat. They just picked where they picked. That tells me especially with the offensive line, that tells me either they didn't have a plan, or their analysis couldn't catch up with the scouting and they couldn't figure it out. They're in trouble. I am disgusted with the management of this team. And I don't see Mayo being here more than 3 years, just so you know.
Okay.
I don't see that happening. So, Frank, thank you for the call. We'll see what happens with Drake May, but they drafted him 3. He's got a point. PTSD over Mac Jones. So, Heated Hotline was presented by Corso Law Group, CorsoLawGroup.com. Hey, we come back, going to talk Yankees versus Red Sox and a whole lot more. Stick around.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. Whether it's a traffic ticket or more serious issue, talk with these expert attorneys. CorsoLawGroup.com.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. All right, let's get to it. Yankees versus Red Sox, Joe. So, Mark, as we continue through the season, Red Sox still seem to be that sitting over there at that 500 mark.
They're
today,
9.5. Now they're 9.5 games behind the Yankees.
Right, 9.5. They're sitting at 28.
So they're
28.
already out of the race for the division, Chris. They're basically already saying it's almost June 1st, and it's basically, okay, we're kind of hanging around for the wild card. That's all we're going to do all year because you have no shot of winning the division.
So now, and O'Neill is now on the injured list for them. Okay, so as of Thursday here, they're 20. They're playing now, but they're 28 and 28.
Yep.
Not a lot to see here, is there?
Which is basically, Chris, what we said, right? They're a team that's been getting some pitching. I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. I think they have underwhelmed hitting wise. I thought they would have had a better roster. I thought they would have produced more runs, Chris, offensively. I've been shocked. They've won 28 games, Chris, because they're getting better pitching than we thought that they would. It's
They're certainly not getting defense.
They're not getting defense, but Chris, offensively, you and I thought it would be the opposite. You and I thought they'd produce a lot of runs, but they're not going to have the pitching to win any games, enough games. But it's the opposite.
Well, if the hitting comes around, then they'll sit
in a shot for a wild card.
Listen, even if that 500, I still think they're going to be between 82 and 84 wins, somewhere in there.
And that keeps you in the hunt, Chris, for the wild card.
With the American League being what it is, they're going to be in the hunt for the wild card. Conversely, talking about our beloved Yankees, they're sitting on Thursday at 38-19.
Yankees have 38 wins, which is the most in the American League. They're in first place.
Half a game up on Cleveland.
Baltimore is you're gonna be battling with Baltimore all year. Baltimore's gonna be right nipping at your heels the entire season because Baltimore's a talented team. So the Yankees, Chris, have been Judge, Soto, and Stanton have more home runs than 8 teams. 8 teams. They have more home runs than 8 teams in the league. Not just teams, entire rosters. Yeah. So that's the type of numbers that those 3 guys are putting up. Judge, Chris, basically didn't show up in April. He gave everybody a head start in all of baseball, and now he leads the league in home runs. He's tied for the league lead, basically after not even showing up in April. And everybody around the league, including yourself, I told you he wasn't worth the money. Okay, well, guess what? Now he's now.
Yeah, no. I'm not backing off that statement. I'm not backing off that statement until they win a ring with him.
Okay. So, anyways, but can those 3 guys, Chris? Though again, it's the old Yankees. Though it's not small ball. It's not doubles and singles and stealing bases. Yes, they're getting a little bit of that out of Volpe, and they're getting a little bit out of that out of Cabrera. Verdugo,
a little bit out of Verdugo too.
Verdugo was putting the ball in play. He was a good addition, Chris.
I saw him lay down a couple of key bunts in situations.
Do they have the combination of power hitters and guys that can do other things to win a championship this year? They may, Chris. It appears they may have that right combination this year with those other few guys that they haven't typically had. The issue was the bullpen. And I know you got a bone to pick with that bullpen. Holmes blew the game the other night. But the issue with Holmes, Chris, is I know he's only given up a couple of runs all season. But even last night, Chris, they win the game. He gives up a double. Yeah. And it's a one-run game. The guy doesn't score. But you're not even playing good teams, Chris. In the playoffs, he's constantly putting guys on base. Does that catch up to you in the playoffs? And does he cost you a series because he puts guys on base, but now you're playing a playoff team and they get the key hit to beat you? That's going to be the issue.
Yeah, it's like he's lonely out there. He needs guys on the bases to keep him company. Yeah, it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you because teams in the playoffs, they go outside the box. They find different ways to move the runners. They do things that are uncharacteristic because it's that desperate. And so those base runners that you keep putting on are going to get home in the playoffs. And that's the issue. I'd like to see them get a little more out of second base too.
So the trade deadline, Chris, we're thinking they're probably going to have to go after bullpen depth and bullpen help, right? Now, starting pitching, Chris, surprisingly, this kid, Louis Ill, I believe his name is Gil, but they pronounce it Ill. He's the ace of the staff, Chris. He's putting up Cy Young numbers right now. Yeah. He's like the best pitcher in the American League right now, that kid. So he's a pleasant surprise. You're getting Garrett Cole back, but today, and here comes the Yankees, right, with their injuries. Yeah. Clark Schmidt, one of their starting pitching, gets put on IR. So that the injuries is going to be something to watch, Chris. But I do like the starting pitching, and I like where we are. I like where we are. I like what I'm seeing out of position players, Chris. It's only May 30th, but I like where we are.
Well, we'll see what happens because, like you say, Baltimore's going to keep nipping at their heels, and Boston's going to stay where they are. So we'll see about that. But Corso and Catone was presented by Corso Law Group. Hey, get on, watch, listen to all our shows. They're up for you. Subscribe. Give us that thumbs up to get our notifications. Come back noon to 1 p.m. Eastern every Saturday. We're going to talk Celtics finals, Catone's comments, anything you bring to the table, we will be ready. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Now find Corso Catone on AM 790, The Score, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you podcast. Or subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch the chaos every Saturday at noon.